is 7 o'clock. A quorum being present, the annual town meeting will now come to order. The warrant for this annual town meeting was signed by the Board of Selectmen on May 9th, 2018. The warrant is posted on the town's official website pursuant to the town's general bylaws, and the warrant was posted by Constable Emily Ann Mello on May 17th, 2018. Therefore, I declare that the requirements of Chapter 2, Section 3 of the general bylaws of the town and Chapter 39, Section 10 of the Massachusetts General Laws have been satisfied. We have not changed our counters. They are still Carboni, Goodfellow, Fabian, and Bizio, and they have been sworn in by the clerk. I'm briefly going to go through it. I'm not going to read all of it all over again. We are relying on town meeting time. Be polite. Your voting cards are pink. Everyone has not changed seats. Everyone has a copy of the warrant. Looks like it. I will now seek a motion waiving the reading of the warrant. Seconded. All in favor, raise your cards. Thank you. Put them down. All opposed, raise your cards. I see none. It's unanimously approved. We have the possibility tonight of a non-resident speaking on at least one of the articles, if not two. His name is John Brady, and I would like to ask you to give him permission to speak, and a motion to that effect.
So moved.
So moved. Seconded.
Second.
All in favor, raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, raise your cards. I see none. Mr. Brady is approved. Thank you. Article 1.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to determine the salaries of all elected officers and to raise and appropriate $27,370,280, transfer from $5,415 from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Trust, transfer $25,000 from the sale of land proceeds, 613 acres on Howland Road, $200,000 from the Debt Service Capital Project Stabilization Fund, and $70,425 from the Stabilization Fund, for a total of $27,671,120 to defray town expenses for the fiscal period July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019 inclusive, said sums to be allocated in accordance with the handout entitled Town of Lakeville Fiscal Year 2019 Budget.
Do I hear a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Before we go into any discussion of any kind, we usually read the line items. There are 79 of them for the town budget. When I read it, if there's anyone who wishes to put a hold on it, at the end of my reading, I will come back to the held items for discussion. Line item 1, Selectmen elected officials compensation, $13,995. Number 2, personnel, $305,766. Item 3, Selectmen expenses, $57,500. Number 4, Selectmen expenses, $900. Reserve fund, $200,000. 6, accounting personnel, $54,882. Accounting expenses, $85,000. Number 8, assessors elected officials compensation, $5,000. Number 9, assessors personnel, $74,023. Number 10, assessors expenses, $104,200. 11, treasurer collector elected official compensation, $77,822. 12, Treasurer Collector Personnel, $89,968. 13, Treasurer Collector Expenses, $2,501. I'm sorry, $52,501. Light up here is not good. Number 14, Legal Services Expenses, $45,000. Number 15, Personnel Board Expenses, $800. Number 16, Information Technology Personnel, $65,000. Number 17, Information Technology Expenses, $191,000. Town Clerk Elected Official Compensation, $68,793. Number 19, Town Clerk Personnel, $53,814. Town Clerk Expenses, $6,350. Number 21, Election Expenses, $22,400. 22, Registration Expenses, $13,700. 23, Conservation Commission Personnel, $37,550. 24, Conservation Commission Expenses, $3,100. Number 25, Planning Board Expenses, $150. 26, Appeals Board Expenses, $300. 27, Historic Townhouse Expenses, $4,500. Number 28, Town Offices Fire Station Expenses, $121,000. Number 29, Facilities Management Personnel, $71,406. Number 30, Facilities Management Expenses, $50,000. 31, Town Report Expenses, $6,000. 32, Cable TV Advisory Committee Expenses, $1,000. I just added a zero. Where are we? Town reports, thank you. $600. Cable TV Advisory Committee expenses, $1,000. Other general government expenses, $6,002. Police personnel, $1,793,385. Police expenses, $177,249. Number 36, fire personnel, $1,255,767. Number 37, fire expenses, $118,025. Building inspection personnel, $238,849. Number 39, building inspection expenses, $3,800. Number 40, gas inspector expenses, $10,000. Number 41, plumbing inspector expenses, $15,000. Weights and measures expenses, $2,500. 43, electrical expenses, $27,000. Number 44, animal inspector expenses, $6,300. Number 45, health inspector expenses, $3,000. Number 46, emergency management expenses, $5,100. 47, animal control personnel, $88,714. Number 48, animal control expenses, $20,000. The total of $49.50, $51.52 comes to $14,128,772. Number 53, Old Colony assessments, $1,831,665. Number 54, Bristol County tuition, $353,009. Highway personnel, $554,653. Highway expenses, $216,200. Number 57, snow and ice personnel, $17,015. Number 58, snow and ice expenses, $37,925. Street lighting expenses, $23,500. Number 60, cemeteries expenses, $13,000. Board of Health elected officials compensation, $5,000. 62, Board of Health personnel, $93,619. Number 63, Board of Health expenses, $10,550. Number 64, Board of Health visiting nurse expenses, $4,000. Council on Aging personnel, $148,320. Item 66, Council on Aging expenses, $28,300. 67, Veteran Services personnel, $16,647. 68, Veteran Services expenses, $178,990. 69, Library personnel, $254,173. Number 70, Library expenses, $107,050. Oh, gorgeous. Thank you. Where were we? 71. I don't see what it's for, but that's okay. Heating, fuel services, and contracted services, $4,000. Number 72, Historical Commission, $500. Number 73, Total Debt Service, $559,035. Plymouth County Extension Co-op, number 74, is $500. 75, Regional Planning Assessment, $1,939. Number 76, Plymouth County, $1,007,318. 77, Unemployment Expense, $1,000. 78, Group Insurance, $2,220,729. Almost made it. Number 79, Total General Insurance, $205,000. We have gone through all of the items, and you can see the totals are summarized for you as a matter of transparency. We will go now back to the hold item. Who put a hold on it?
It was just going way too easy, Gordon. Nelson Pratt. Looking at the big number, I thought from year to year when I look at this, I always have these questions, but I never asked them, so I need a little help tonight, okay? I'd like to know a little bit more about how employees, who qualifies for health care in the town. What are the qualifying factors to be allowed to participate?
One of the selectmen want to handle that one?
Sure. So the qualifications are really set by the state, and unfortunately, we don't have very much control over that at the state level. It's been an issue that we've really been trying to push for, and when Karen Polito came to Lakeville a couple of years ago at this point in time, it was one of the issues we brought up with them. Any employees that work 20 hours or more a week are eligible for full-time benefits, whether or not they're working a full-time schedule. It's considered to be full-time, so that's why there's a lot of hires that happen at the local level at 19 hours per week because they're non-benefit eligible. The minute they go to 20 hours a week, they're eligible for health insurance benefits. So that's really a state issue, and unfortunately, we can't reduce the benefits based upon a reduced work schedule.
Does that answer your question, or only?
Yes, I've got two more if I can.
Could go.
What's the percentage contribution for the town versus the employee?
So there's a couple different plans that the town has. The most generous plan, I believe, is 75% that the town will contribute for the employees. This is for employees that have been on a certain, I think, a HMO plan, and they've been working for us for a number of years. There's also a PPO plan where they pay 65%. The town pays 65%, the employees pay 35%. For new hires, we negotiated that into the new contracts that they're at a 50-50 health insurance benefit.
I'm looking at an item here that says health insurance rebate. Could you run that one by me?
I'm going to turn to Todd or Rita on that one. Oh, understood. Now I know exactly what that line item means. So what was incentivized too, when we negotiated the contracts to go to the 50-50% for the health insurance, we offer a $2,500 stipend to people that opt out completely of health insurance that are eligible for a single plan, and it's $5,000 for a family plan. So that's the opt-out payment for those who are eligible for health insurance who choose not to, based upon what we're seeing with regard to the amount that's paid for a family plan. A typical family plan is about $25,000. So if the town is paying somewhere between 65 and 75% of that plan, $5,000 was a reasonable amount to pay out to incentivize people to be off the plan. So that is what we have budgeted, I think, for this year, really, for those people who are going to be incentivized not to participate within the health plan offered by the town.
So this is something new we're doing?
Yeah, that was negotiated with the new contracts, really just for our general kind of clerical union, as well as the police and the fire.
One more question.
Go.
I'm curious as to why the reporting is like it is. It's really confusing to look at one lump sum of over $2 million in healthcare as opposed to having it broken down by department. Is there a reason we don't, I mean, we count paper clips and pencils by department and postage, and I see crazy items here that are to $32. But the biggest line item for many departments, I would think, would be healthcare, other than salaries. Why do we do it this way, and why don't we show how much the highway department costs for healthcare, how much the police by department instead of like this?
I mean, I know just from a practical perspective, also included in here is amounts that are paying currently for retirees who are within health insurance as well. So there's kind of a mix between all different departments. You know, from a practical standpoint, I don't know how difficult it would be to kind of extract those pieces of it. It's just something that we've done. I don't know that we've even talked about really doing it that way.
How about the town accountant explaining it, since he line itemed it?
Todd's going to explain it.
Because all of the departmental budgets lines that the moderator just read, we have to hold each department within that line. If any given department had a big change in employees or employees taking coverage, it would require a lot more transfers, either through town meeting or through the reserve fund. So we certainly can break it out by department, and maybe we could do an exhibit for future town meetings to show you the breakout. But operationally, this is a lot easier to manage without having to come back to town meeting because we have a shortfall in a particular departmental budget.
Okay. I think I understand that. It just from a taxpayer point of view, I think would be a lot more transparent to look at each department with the healthcare costs included as a cost for that department, as opposed to what we look at here. So consideration, I guess. Last one. Employees of 20 hours.
Yeah, state law.
Are any elected officials entitled to health care?
Yeah, so we're also entitled, elected officials that receive a stipend are also getting health care benefits if they choose to accept them.
And they can opt out as well for
That's correct.
For that rebate? They're entitled to the rebate too?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Michael Giardini. I think the stipend's a great thing. It saves the town a lot of money. I don't know if people realize how much money it saves the town by doing those rebates, rather. Excuse me. But I did have a question. Is the healthcare plan public record that people could see? What is the deductible for employees here?
Yeah, so it's through the Gateway Group, so it's a public group that's made up of a number of different towns that put together their kind of budget per se. I don't believe there's a deductible to that, but again, in accordance with state law, you have to offer your employees a plan that's no worse for benefits than the GIC, which is the state plan. So we're kind of, the hands are a little bit tied in terms of the types of plans that can be offered.
So I do health insurance for a living. To have no deductible is pretty much unheard of these days. I'm sure everyone in this room has a deductible. Most towns in the state of Massachusetts now have deductibles, even for town employees. That would significantly reduce the expense if we applied a deductible to the health insurance.
Would you care to respond to that statement or not?
I mean, I think it's really just part of what the Gateway Group is. That's the negotiated group rates. I think that, happy to have a conversation offline about that if that's something that you want to have. I'm just probably not the right person to speak to that.
All right.
Seeing there is nothing else to discuss because there was only a hold on one item and we have discussed it, we move to a vote.
May I?
Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
I'm sorry.
May I speak to the motion just in general?
Certainly.
So I just want to explain a little bit about the budget process within the town, because I think it's somewhat helpful to see exactly where we are and where we came from for this year. So this budget was a little challenging to put together for this year, and what you see is the end result of a number of different months worth of negotiations and trying to get to a number that would allow us to balance our budget. We started out with our budgetary request from all of our department heads in a $1 million deficit. So I want to just emphasize that because last year we sat here and we talked about sustainability. Sustainability is still a concern with this budget. We ended up doing a couple things with this budget this year regarding the overlay, which is really what's allowed by the assessors. It's really kind of a holdback for individuals that may be looking to abate their property tax bills that come to them, which is kind of set back as a reserve. So this year includes, we don't have that as a holdback in our budget, which is $225,000 because we had a little bit of a surplus essentially that we believed we could cover through the current year with the abatements that will be presented this year. On top of that, too, we did not hire any additional people this year, other than some replacements for existing personnel. We denied some raises, including some promotions with our public safety officers as well. We are trying to really, kind of get the budget to a level of sustainability, but I don't want people to think that this was an easy budget to put together this year. I do have concerns about the sustainability of the budget moving forward, so I wanted to make that known.
Thank you. Because we're taking out of stabilization and other funds, we have to have a 2/3 vote on the budget. So I'm going to ask for a count right off the bat so we don't waste time. All in favor of Article 1, please raise your cards. Counters, please count. Yes? Oh, you're still counting.
29.
Thank you.
24.
24, thank you.
31.
31, thank you. 27, thank you. You may put your cards down. All opposed, please raise your cards.
0. 1. 0. 0.
Thank you. We got 111 to 1. Vote is 111 to 1. It passes by 2/3 vote. Article 2.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $330,000 for the Park Department Enterprise Fund as follows. $78,250 to be raised from Park Department retained earnings and $251,750 from estimated Park Department receipts. Said sums to be allocated between salaries and expenses of the Park Department for the fiscal period July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019 inclusive, as indicated in the Finance Committee report.
Do I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Just as a quick reference, Article 2 has a few totals you might want to take a look at. The subtotal salaries and wages, $138,482. Subtotal expenses, $191,518. And total enterprise fund revenue, minus $330,000. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak to the motion before we go to the floor?
Mr. Moderator, this is just our budget for the enterprise fund of the Parks Department. Again, as you see, the majority of the funds will be raised through user fees, $251,750. The remaining $78,250 is coming from retained earnings of the Park Department. That mainly is being used to offset capital expenditures, I believe the largest of those being bathrooms at John Pond Park.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to come and ask a question? I see none. We move to a vote. All in favor of Article 2, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see none. Correct me if I'm wrong. I declare that Article 2 unanimously is approved. Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $375,700 for the landfill enterprise as follows: $105,000 to be raised by taxation and $270,700 to be raised from estimated landfill receipts. Said sums to be allocated between the salaries and expenses of the landfill for the fiscal period July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019 inclusive, as indicated in the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to it?
I would. This, similar to the last article, is how we are funding the landfill enterprise fund this year. We have $270,700, which will be raised through estimated receipts. The additional $105,000, this is the amount that we are transferring from the general fund, essentially, well, it's really taxation that's coming through because the landfill enterprise fund does not generate enough revenues to sustain itself. So this is something that we have been doing for a number of years, and this is where the transfer is coming from.
Thank you. Does anyone care to speak to the article? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. It's a majority vote. All in favor? Whoops. All in favor, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see no cards. I declare it passed by unanimous vote. Article 4.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to cover the cost of contractual obligations upon retirement of town employees.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation.
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Mr. Powderly, care to comment?
Yes, if a town employee retires, any accrued vacation time and eligible sick leave buyback would be covered by these funds set aside for this purpose. We have several retirements coming up over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone care to speak to the article?
Mark Knox from Pierce Ave. I guess I'm wondering if we're doing this for more than 1 year and we're just doing it in this year's budget. Is it something that we're going to keep doing, or is this something we could only ask for $5,000 now to cover this year and then ask for $5,000 in next year's budget?
Well, I think what,
And I'm throwing out hypothetical
Yeah.
amounts. I don't know the answer.
no, I think that the balance that's in there today is $51,000, and we're adding another 20 to it. The significant retirements coming up, certainly that have been announced by the current employees, is the police chief not retiring right now, but he's announced his intentions to be retiring in the next 2 to 3 years. Chief Hopkins of the Fire Department, Rita Garbutt, the Town Administrator. So a lot of the higher level employees that are eligible under the old plans, they'll be retiring with certain benefits. It's really the older long-term employees that are still eligible.
But it's a mathematical equation. You guys have taken the existing amount, added to it what you need. that
Yes.
We don't need to come back and do this again, and it covers it, and it's not a big surplus.
Right.
It's the right amount.
Right, it's approximately the right amount.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Seeing no further comment, we'll come to a vote. It's a majority vote. All in favor of Article 4, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see no opposition. I declare it unanimously approved. Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $548,660 to pay costs of capital improvements and all costs incidental and related thereto as follows. 2 new police cruisers with equipment, less trade-ins, $83,500. 18 self-contained breathing apparatus air packs for the fire department, $155,160. Turnout gear and 1 Lucas chest compression system for the fire department, $25,000. 3 used cabs and chassis and 2 used Sanders for the highway department with equipment, $160,000. 1 new 34-ton oil jacketed diesel fire premix heater and trailer for the highway department with equipment, $50,000. Crack sealing, seal coating, and line painting the parking lot at the senior center, $10,000. 1 new generator for the senior center, $50,000. Equipment replacements for the information technology department, $15,000. And that to meet this appropriation, $205,160 shall be transferred from the sale of land proceeds, Howland Road, and $343,500 shall be transferred from the Debt Service Capital Project Stabilization Fund, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen and other appropriate town officials to take such action as may be necessary to effectuate the purpose of this vote.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Would you care to comment on the article?
This is the annual capital requests that we've received and approved through the process of discussing them with the Finance Committee. And of note, I think the generator at the senior center is one that I'm looking forward to, hopefully being approved for. Over the last winter, when we had some significant power outages in town, one of the places we lost power was the senior center, and what we determined was that we really want to keep that building open as a 24-hour access to the community, especially in emergency situations. So that's one of the highlights of this year's capital request.
And it's part of a 5-year plan, correct?
It is.
Yeah. Seeing no one at the microphone, we are moving to the microphone.
Michael Giardini. Question, the 2 new police cruisers, didn't we just do 2 or 3 new police cruisers last year? Can you tell me how many cruisers there are and if this is a every year thing?
Yeah, it
Yes.
usually is.
Yeah, we pretty much do 2 cruises a year. Actually, our police chief's coming down. He can give some details on the number of cruises and the amount of miles they put on these things.
Yeah, typically we replace them at about 120 to 130,000 miles for safety of the officers. It's usually every year we have to replace them.
So most cities and towns, don't replace them every year. Is there a reason we replace them every year?
We're not replacing that particular car every year, they rotate. So we
So how
say
many-
we have 7
Excuse me.
cruisers.
Would you please address your questions to me, and I will address my questions to the chief? Thank you.
Okay, so my question was how many cruises we have and why we're replacing them every year.
They are not replacing them every year. They are on a basis of
Okay.
rotation. But the chief will explain.
Exactly, as the moderator said, it's on a rotating basis, usually 2 to 3 cruises, depending on the year. They'll be replaced after approximately 120,000.
And how many cruises do we have on the road?
Operationally, I can tell you we have 7 marked cruises.
Thank you. Moving to a vote. It's a 2/3 required vote, so I'm going to count. Counters? Oh. No. He takes care of the microphones.
Sorry.
I don't see anybody approaching a microphone. No, you always have a chance, but just don't sit.
Martha Schroeder at 3 Riverbend Road. I have no objection to this money being spent. What I do want to point out is that quite a number of years ago, I voted for the purchase of the Howland Road property. We have been lucky enough with the state to pay for that, and I just want people to realize that when we voted for the Howland Road property, we didn't know that we were also going to be using that money for capital expenditures later on. That some of that money, at least, should have been set aside for future purchases of open space.
Thank you. Again, moving to a vote, 2/3 vote. Counters, please count. All in favor of Article 5, please raise your cards.
Twenty-nine.
28? Thank you.
28.
Thank you.
31.
Thank you. You may put your cards down. All opposed, please raise your cards. Counters, please count.
0. 0.
0.
Thank you. It's unanimous. 116? 116 to nothing. Article 5 unanimously passed. Article 6.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $33,514 from the Debt Service Capital Project Stabilization Fund, Lakeville share, to purchase and equip a new dump truck and plow for the school department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee have a recommendation.
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Would you care to speak to it?
It's simply that the school department has requested one new dump truck and plow for snow removal and general grounds maintenance at the school. And this is our portion, and Freetown has their portion that they would be paying. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. It's a 2/3 vote. Let's risk it. All in favor, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see no cards. Am I correct? Seeing none, it is passed by unanimous vote. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to transfer and appropriate from the septic loan program the sum of $9,945 for the purpose of financing the following water pollution abatement facility projects: repair, replacement, and/or upgrade of septic systems pursuant to agreements with the Board of Health and residential property owners, including without limitations all costs thereof as defined in Section 1, Chapter 29C of Mass General Laws. That project and financing costs shall be repaid by property owners in accordance with those agreements, as well as take any other action necessary to carry out the projects.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Would you care to speak to it?
Yes. This is for the town betterment program. We're just putting money back into the fund so Lakeville residents can borrow money from the town, I believe at 5% interest for up to 20 years to replace their septic systems if needed.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? We do this every year. Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. It's a majority vote. Thank you, Mr. Maxim. All in favor, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see no cards. Thank you. Passes by unanimous vote.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town raise and appropriate the sum of...
Hold on. Oh, sorry. Please wait a minute.
Yep. Hold, please.
Derek, could we have the motion? I know. Yes, I do. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the Middleborough-Lakeville Herring Fishery Commission for pilot projects to protect the passage of river herring, to include an eco-harvesting pilot demonstration, a benthic mat test, and other mechanical, chemical, or biological intervention.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee? Thank you. Would you care to speak to it?
Yes, we were approached by the Herring Fishery Commission to increase the amount of funding to them for purposes of exploring options dealing with the Nemasket River. The Nemasket River is a waterway that starts at the Assawampset Pond and flows down into Middleborough, and it has been over the years clogged with invasive species of aquatic plant life that is really destroying it as a river. This group of volunteers really does a lot to try to protect the herring fishery, and they requested this money for the sake of exploring options as to how they can hopefully eradicate some of those plants that are ruining the waterway.
Thank you. Anyone care to approach the microphone? Seeing none, this is a majority vote. All in favor of Article 8, please raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, please raise your cards. I see no opposed. Oh, one opposed. Okay. It's a majority vote, so I declare it a majority, and it passes. Article 9.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw to allow adult-use marijuana retailers within the industrial zoning district by amending the zoning bylaw Section 2 definitions in the Section 413 Table of Use Regulations as set forth in Article 9 of the warrant.
You don't want to read the rest? Okay. It's as printed?
As printed.
Okay,
correct.
thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation? Thank you. Would you care to speak to the article, sir?
This is the choice of Lakeville voters to allow adult-use marijuana retail sales in the industrial park. There'll be a separate question relative to the ancillary businesses, but when the Board of Selectmen started investigating this option for the voters to consider tonight, we wanted to make sure that we put this forward for the sake of determining whether the town wanted to take advantage of this opportunity for revenue. This particular piece of it allows us to adopt, if this passes, we can adopt a 3% tax on these sales as a separate warrant article that also allows the town to gain revenue the other piece of it is that we have the ability to negotiate a community host agreement with the retail establishment, which can also provide more revenue to the town.
Thank you. Does anyone care to comment? Dave, you're first.
Dave Piasecki, Old Main Street. I just have a question as to, we're doing this for the benefit of the funds coming into the town. I have a question as to at what expense are these funds coming into the town, and I have a question of Chief Avalera to ask him if there are any questions or problems that he perceives could be forthcoming with the approval of these laws regarding marijuana.
Okay, let's take your questions one at a time. The first one is
No, one of them was...
the effect on the town.
Yeah, the effect, one of the chief has any questions as to what the problems might be with regard to people driving under the influence, or how you measure under the influence of marijuana. I just don't, and we're looking at this as a moneymaker for the town. I don't think it's money well earned. I was just wondering whether chief had any questions or objections, or if this meets with his approval.
Okay.
I had a question on that.
Okay, Chief, you're up.
I guess the only thing we can really speak to is obviously the residents of Massachusetts spoke. Marijuana is now legal. Law enforcement does obviously have issues. The laws, the rules are convoluted. I think my feeling, whether there was a place for sale in Lakeville, no matter what, law enforcement still has to deal with marijuana, whether it's, somebody operating under the influence. So, in Massachusetts, it's legal, and we're going to have to enforce it either way, whether there was an establishment in town or not. It's not going to stop people from using, possessing, or unfortunately driving under the influence. We still will enforce that regardless. I don't know if that answered your question.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mark Knox, Pierce Ave. I'm a little disappointed with the entire warrant related to marijuana, just because in the general election, Lakeville voted against the legalization of marijuana. Along through this process leading up to this town meeting, we've been told that if we don't vote for this stuff, it could go anywhere, which is not actually true. It would be in the next closest zoned category, which would be like in a smoke shop. So it just wouldn't go in your neighbor's house. I'm disappointed that Lakeville doesn't get a chance to actually ban or put a moratorium until other towns maybe shake out the problems with marijuana, and then we could come up with better bylaws and legislation to address this. I know that there's supposed tax dollars out there waiting from this, but most of this is supposed to go towards betterments, and we're basically allowing problems from marijuana that we're going to pay for with the money we get from these taxes. This proposal is to put retail in the industrial park. That's going to be people coming in and out of Route 18 during rush hour, which we already have a police officer at Ocean Spray clogging up traffic, makes that road a mess. People from the T station, I think, are going to walk all the way there. We're going to end up paying for sidewalks from Lakeville Station. The industrial park's really not designed for that retail travel and traffic. We'd probably have to pay for stoplights at both ends of the park, or a detail officer. There would be, I think, additional costs to the police department, which the chief did touch on. We're going to pay for some drug awareness programs. Traffic flow, which has been brought up at the marijuana forum that we had at the library, was a significant increase in that area, and I think it's going to come from all directions through town, not just off the highway. I just think we haven't been given this in a fair manner where we could actually say no. And I just think we should vote no on everything related to marijuana to force the selectmen to give us an option to say no at a future town meeting. Thank you.
Would any of the selectmen care to react to that statement?
Yeah, I'll respond to the traffic piece. It's an industrial park. There was manufacturing and warehouse distribution jobs in there. There are thousands of parking spaces, and at one time there were thousands of employees coming and going in there. To say that a retail operation that has about the traffic count of a Dunkin' Donuts is going to be disruptive in there, I think is disingenuous. Furthermore, under site plan review, which this bylaw or one of these bylaws will allow, the planning board could regulate the hours of the operation and not let them open before 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. So to say that there's going to be any sort of rush hour traffic is just not accurate.
Yes.
To address some of your other concerns or comments.
I asked if the selectmen would care to comment, and both of them care to. I will be with you next, okay?
So with regard to this particular article speaks to where, if we would like to have marijuana retailers in town, where they would be allowed, because unlike a lot of other particular industries or businesses, the way that the rule has been written in the state of Massachusetts is if we do not put a specific area that we're allowing for this business to be located, that it can actually go anywhere at the next closest use, similar to what Mr. Knox was saying. What that would mean is that this article and voting yes on it would limit it to the industrial zone, not allow it in the business zones in places that we have, and we have a lot of business zones within the town itself. And if we don't actually put a zone, it can go anywhere that mirrors the use, essentially, of what the retailer operation would look like. Secondly, there is a 3% mitigation fund, essentially, through the host community agreement that is to offset certain of the costs that would be borne by the town for having this type of industry within the town. The items that are allowed under that use are not specifically defined by the state. But on top of that, there's an additional 3% local option tax that can be used as general fund revenue for any uses within the town itself. We did look at this from a revenue perspective because in bringing it to you today, again, looking at it to say that this is one of the economic development opportunities within the town. And again, this particular vote is to vote whether you would want to see it in the industrial or to limit these entities to industrial zones as opposed to allowing them to go anywhere by right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, Sylvester Sienkiewicz from the Planning Board. The two things, Article 9, Article 10, and Article 12. To keep this better organized, I think it would be good to at least mention the other two articles because they kind of affect each other. You know, how one votes on another. But that's, you know, they could just be read and how you could vote them this way. But just be careful, everyone. This is not the end of this discussion. The other thing is we held hearings on this because it was it's a zoning. One of these was a zoning issue, and there actually probably should be of a general bylaw, one should be written in here too. But as did the select board also held sort of hearings on this, and everybody voted at the end of these. I believe the finance committee also had this in front of them. You're supposed to ask us how the different boards felt about it. And I would like to,
Okay.
well, my chair would like to participate in that process, but I think we should do that process
Well, why don't
first,
you
too.
state how your board voted on the hearing of May 10th?
Pardon?
You had a hearing on May 10th, correct?
Yes.
And at that, you voted to approve or disapprove. So would you indicate what you decided and why?
It wasn't that clear exactly what we were voting on because of the way the hearing went. We voted against the first option and for the second two options. The first option was to have, to us that night, we were voting for retail marijuana operation in the town. We voted against that one. The second option was for growing it or distributing it or collecting the money for it, packaging, the industrial uses. And we voted for that. And then there was an ancillary one, the third one. We voted for that. That was ancillary to the, the production. The reason we felt that way is because we had a lot of feedback from people in the industrial park, actually. And the folks in the industrial park felt they had a very nice industrial park, and they do. It's a good-looking thing. It's one of the best-looking industrial parks anywhere, and that this was actually degrading their properties and making their lives harder, and we agreed with them. On the second part, where they were like growing indoors, an industrial park was exactly where we wanted to put it.
When we get to the next article, which is what you're talking about, you can plug in that part, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes?
Norman Oral, Crooked Lane. I just want a clarification that this would allow any of the industrial zone land now or in the future. It basically just sets it up for industrial zone by special permit. So we've heard a little discussion about the industrial park, but I think it's important for people to understand that it would be for any industrial zone land in town.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Michael Giardini, you've said if we vote against this, then it can go anywhere. The town would still have to enter into a host agreement, correct? So if if the town votes against this now, the only way it can go anywhere is if the Board of Selectmen provides a host agreement, correct? So if everyone voted against it, we voted against it once, the town, and now if everyone votes against this, the only way it's coming into town is if the three of you decide to give a host agreement, correct?
Why don't you ask me?
All right, if the three of them
Response
enter into a host agreement.
with one of the selectmen, please?
Mr. Moderator, through you, yes, that is correct. So one of the public meetings that we had, my explanation of that is that I have no intention of entering into a community host agreement as a Board of Selectmen member with anyone unless the zoning passes. If this does not pass this evening, my intention, to speak to what Mr. Knox had referenced, is to put forward an article that would ban retail sales in Lakeville at the next town meeting. That would probably be in the fall. This is a great opportunity for the town, but if the town doesn't want to take advantage of it, that's okay. But I didn't want to do anything that would not give the town the opportunity to take advantage of that, of the circumstances. So to answer your question, the idea is that if yes, in theory we could do that, but I don't know as if this board would do that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator?
Wait a minute.
I'd be happy.
You'd
for
be
the
happy to
selectmen
defer.
speak
Thank
first.
you.
Thank you. So I just want to point out that currently we do have a host community agreement that we have negotiated with our medical marijuana company, one of them so far. So we already have, and that was through a zoning bylaw that happened a number of years ago, that we have medical within this community as well. So this would be, so just from a general perspective, there will be medical retail sales in Lakeville. It already exists and is in process. This is really for the adult use.
Which is a good segue into my question. I'm a little unclear.
State your
Excuse
name.
me.
State your name, please.
Dick Scott, Rush Pond Road. I'm a little confused with regard to the retail, recreational, and the medical part. The article as written, it's talking about retail, and I think you're saying that's both medical and recreational. No.
Go.
Then enlighten me, because,
Let her explain.
thank you.
Sure. So we have a zoning bylaw already on the books that's been approved that we've been working with, which is for medical marijuana, which includes, medical marijuana is a vertically integrated operation, which includes cultivation and dispensary as well. So those are already in place in Lakeville and are moving forward. What the adult use, and you'll see in Article 10, there's a difference because under the new licensing for adult use, each component of the license is separated. So you could have cultivation at a vertically integrated medical facility that would be cultivation for medical and cultivation for adult use. At the same time, you also could have a retail that's vertically integrated again for medical, which again, it has to be vertically integrated for medical, where they would have an open retail shop for medical only, but this would be allowing them also to allow adult use retail on site as well. But it also would allow for anybody who chose to obtain a separate adult use dispensary license on their own to allow to locate within the industrial zone.
I'm not sure that clarified it, but
Did that not clarify anything?
when you kept saying this and that, you knew what you were referring to.
I know what I'm referring to.
Yeah. What she's saying is there's a medical marijuana vertical growing and selling just for medical purposes. This Article 9 would allow that place to also sell for other purposes, correct?
Correct. That and anybody else who chooses just to open a dispensary for adult use
Right.
in the industrial zone.
I think I separated it then.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
Does that mean you're going to have a separate host agreement for each business and each part of the business? Or how does the host agreement go? Because I'm interested in, would they offer, for example, assisting us with police service? Would they offer us some assurance that any nuisances that might be created? Because I did attend one meeting where external odors were discussed. Would that be with the individual company as a separate host agreement?
In other words, two entities, two agreements, even though it's the same outfit.
Right. So for any medical marijuana company, there's one host community agreement that covers, again, when I say vertical integration, it's the entirety of the grow and the retail sales. So that's one host community agreement. When they enter in and they obtain another license from the state for adult use, whether it's adult use cultivation in the grow, that requires a separate host community agreement. Same thing with adult use dispensary or retail operation, that requires another separate host community agreement. So there's two different channels that we're working with. Again, medical has one host community agreement for the whole thing from grow to sale. For each component of the retail and adult use, there's a separate host community agreement for each one. The special permit is what would dictate some of those terms, like the the hours of operation, the nuisances, the ordinances. I know that we do have one of the individuals here who is who we've negotiated the medical host community agreement with, that I know is probably looking to speak to address some of the things that exist within the host community agreement, some of the payments to the charities that they've agreed to do, some of the payments and the benefits to the town from the medical side. So I think that's probably something to be talked about.
Thank you. Mr. LaCamera.
Mr. Moderator, Rich LaCamera, Old Potter House Road. I'm totally confused now, because I went to all the hearings and all the discussion, about retail marijuana. And town council told us at the meeting, at the Board of Appeals meeting, that since the town voted against marijuana at the ballot, that if it came to town meeting and it got voted down at town meeting, then marijuana would be banned from the town of Lakeville, recreational marijuana. I want clarification on that.
Town council.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Moderator. Although I am not the attorney who was present at the public hearings, what I think you're hearing or understanding is that if the town had put an article on the warrant to prohibit the sale or the conduct of a retail marijuana business, then it would not also have to pass that bylaw by a ballot question. In other communities where the communities voted in favor of the legalization of marijuana, they require a two-step process to ban it. They have to pass a bylaw at town meeting, and they have to approve that bylaw at a ballot. But for Lakeville, because you voted against it, it's a one-step process. However, for reasons beyond council's control, there is no article on this warrant to prohibit retail sales. So the only question in front of you here tonight is whether you wish to limit retail sales to the industrial zoning district only. If you vote no on this article, it does not prohibit retail sales. In fact, it broadens retail sales to any zone in which a similar business could operate, which would likely mean it could go in the business district or the industrial district. So what you're being asked to do here this evening is to decide, do you want to limit this only to the industrial district? And if you vote no, then you're saying you're not choosing to limit it in that way, you're choosing to allow it in a more broad way. If your desire is to prohibit retail sales altogether, whether you vote yes or no on this, that would be a question that would have to be decided at a future town meeting.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
as a follow-up to that, then the selectmen can negotiate a host agreement for recreational marijuana any place in town then. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Moderator. Well, it's got to comply with zoning still. So they couldn't put it, say, in the residential district. If this bylaw is passed, the Board of Selectmen could enter into a host community agreement, but that agreement would limit the facility to the industrial district. So it's a two-step process. It's kind of like licensing, right? You have to comply with zoning, and you have to have the host community agreement. You can't have one without the other.
Okay, just to follow up to that, clarification. So if we vote no, then the selectmen cannot negotiate a host agreement for recreational marijuana.
Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry, that's not correct. They could.
Well, you just said, you just contradicted yourself.
I apologize, maybe I wasn't being clear, okay? The selectmen can vote to enter into a host community agreement with any facility that wishes to come into town. However, that facility has to comply with zoning. So if this article passes, then that facility, if it's a retail, would be limited to the industrial district only. If this fails, then that facility could go into the business or the industrial.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry to say this, Selectman, I think you misled the public, because it was my impression that, and everybody else that attended the meeting, I'm sure other people will bear me out, that it was either going to be recreational or it was not going to be recreational at all. And you should have put a ban then, if that was what required, an article to ban recreational marijuana for the town, because I think there's a lot of objection, to it. And, there's a lot of concerns about recreational marijuana. Doesn't it seem awful strange that all the communities around us have rejected it and have banned it, including all the Bridgewaters and Rainham and Cohasset and Hingham, even Freetown, who's got one of the biggest distribution facilities in the state. And why then would we want recreational marijuana if all those communities around us have rejected it, except Middleborough's still up in the air? They haven't decided what they're going to do. Guess where they're coming? They're coming here to the town of Lakeville from the surrounding communities to buy recreational marijuana. I don't think we want that in our town, to be done. And the gentleman that's supposed to want to speak, I think it's Nature's something. He originally, at the Board of Appeals meeting, I was there when he asked for his medical marijuana facility. And he said, quote, that I'm not going to open a retail marijuana facility. Now he wants to. And then there's another company across the street that is also going to be doing the same thing. And don't tell me it's not going to create traffic. You know, there's going to be, he said in his original presentation, which I was at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, that it was going to generate at least 50,000 cars, you know, coming to his facility. I wouldn't want to live on 79 because of all the problems it's going to create, number one. Number two is that those 50,000 people aren't going to work in Talbot's. They're coming to get marijuana, and those are going to cause all kinds of problems. As a matter of fact, over the weekend, I don't know if you saw it on the national news, 59% of the traffic facilities, fatalities are now caused by marijuana and opioid drugs. It exceeds drunk driving now. It's become a serious, serious problem. I don't know why you want to do this. If it's all about the money, I think we're making a mistake.
Mr. Moderator, before Mr. Brady, who is one of the marijuana growers, speaks, I don't think everyone's attended all the meetings, although they perhaps think they have. There are three growers and cultivators that we've been dealing with. One's Trichome Health, one's Nature's Remedy, which Mr. Brady is here tonight, and Bountiful Farms. Only Bountiful Farms said that they were going to be a grow facility only. They were originally going to ask for a zoning change on Harding Street, which they had since changed their mind, and I believe they are attempting to buy Vital Med, which is an empty, newer building in the industrial park. Obviously, with an empty parking lot, the business has moved out of town. The other party, Trichome, at one point in time, and I don't know the status of the purchase, was to buy Tracy Imports, once again not a very active business within the industrial park. The third company, which is Nature's Remedy, and seems to be the largest of the three, is going to do a sublease, I believe, for cold storage. And they were always going to do a grow facility and a medical facility minimally, but we actually had encouraged them to all do a recreational sale. As far as 50,000 cars, I think it was a number of cars per day, which I believe he'll give an explanation to. The tax money where we talk about, are we selling our souls to the marijuana people? To give you the tax money or the employment picture, it's about, for recreational sales, it would be about a $600,000 tax income, possibly employ 60 employees with the three businesses for a payroll of about $1.6 million. I'll talk about the cultivation portion of that when we get to the next part of that. But certainly it's a moral issue with everyone, whether you should or shouldn't do it. You hear the two sides of, if you don't buy it in Lakeville, you're going to buy it in another town. Most towns have done a moratorium, not banning it, but a moratorium of kicking the can down the road. It really is important that you pick the zoning issues where you want it. I personally don't want it in a similar business, which could be a vape shop, could be a liquor store. The state, I won't talk about morality, but they talk about the seniors being ruined because you sell lottery tickets. There'll be online betting. They allowed marijuana. They've actually put it in their budget this year, marijuana income. So it is here. You can pick your own moral issues, but as far as coming up with reasons that you don't want it, it can be on a moral issue, but as far as the traffic in the industrial park, there's thousands of empty parking spaces. Go count them. Drive in the industrial park every day if you wish to and look at the traffic. I certainly don't believe it to be a traffic. If you want to vote against it for moral issues, be my guest. So there is a lot of tax revenue. The selectmen certainly have endorsed it to date. As you see the budget you have here, we're using the funds of the land sale that we sold near the high school. We're using funds of the assessor's office that recently got sold, and we certainly have reduced the operational budget by selling the water tower to Taunton. So the reality of it is, just pick whether you want $1 million in taxes or not. And but I'll have Mr. Brady and the other people speak to the issues. Thank you.
Mr. Brady, you've been waiting a while.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, ladies first.
Maria Martin, 207 Cedar Drive. I just have a clarification question. When we were told that it has to be zoned in the industrial, they can go anywhere they want. Then we're told that the selectmen they choose, they have to make an agreement. So if we vote no, can the selectmen then just go and give an agreement for them to go anywhere? Or can they can't do it without the agreement from the selectmen?
All right, well, let me clarify, and you guys jump in if I'm wrong. Aaron spoke to this earlier. He said if everyone didn't want it, okay, then he wasn't going to go out and negotiate an agreement in front of a town that was saying no, 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 no. Correct, Aaron?
Yeah, and furthermore, I would put forward an article that would ban retail sales at our fall town meeting.
So we would be safe between now and then, and they couldn't bring the business in without your zoning, without you allowing
In
it
other
to
words,
happen?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily anticipate the reaction that we're receiving this evening, or maybe we would have put forward a ban tonight. But honestly, I figured that it's worth letting the people decide what they want to do. It's your town, and if you want to see it here and take advantage of the revenue, great. And if you don't want it here, that's okay too. Certainly not gonna try to make a deal to get retail sales here if people don't want it. It doesn't make any sense.
I just wanted a clarification between with the public.
Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Dave Piasecki again. I just want to express that I'm disappointed in our selectmen. It's not a money issue. I don't think it's a money issue. We shouldn't be anxious to get something like this in town because it's going to make us some money. It'll cost us a few dollars less in taxes. I don't want members of my family killed with someone stoned on marijuana or any other drugs. I don't mind marijuana as a medical product. There are many medical products that are dangerous to people if they're not used properly or not prescribed properly. But I'm disappointed if our selectmen are in favor of this because it's going to bring us some tax money. Thank you, but no thank you.
Point of clarification, Mr. Moderator, I'm in favor of giving you folks the choice.
Yes, sir. We've permitted him to speak. You're on.
I'm willing to wait because if there are more questions, I can probably
Answer them all at the
everything
same
one
time. Okay,
time.
fine.
So, go ahead.
Mr. Knox.
Why do we have the choice just to ban it then? That's the only, that's my biggest problem with this whole process is we just don't get that choice, and it was the will of the people when we had the general election.
You wish to speak to that?
I think the vote no in Lakeville was by 90 votes. So, to your point, I get your point, but to not provide this option didn't seem reasonable to me. And if you don't want that kind of leadership, then that's okay. I'm going to do my best to give you folks the choice on issues such as this, and it's up to you to make the decision. And like I said, I probably misjudged the no vote, if you will. And I think, like I said, my intention, and I've said this prior to tonight, my intention is that if this doesn't get passed, then we need to put forward a permanent ban.
Mr.
Mr.
Markson.
Moderator, I have a point of order. People are speaking about whether or not we're going to ban marijuana in town. This article does not speak to whether or not we're going to ban marijuana.
Well,
in
that's
this
what they
town.
were trying to get clarified.
Okay, what this article speaks to is whether we're going to limit the zones in which marijuana can be sold. If we vote against it, we haven't limited it. If we vote for it, we haven't approved the sale of marijuana. So it seems to me that what we need to...
Say what you just said again, please. If we vote for
If we
it,
vote for this, we haven't approved the sale of marijuana. We've only limited the area in which the marijuana can be sold if we allow the sale of marijuana, which we haven't done yet. If we vote against this, it leaves the entire non-residential area of the town open to the sale of marijuana in the future.
to put it another way, this article says, do you want it in industrial zone land, or do you want it to be able to get an agreement anywhere where there's a business or industrial land? Nowhere in this does it say it is a ban on the selling of marijuana. Okay? Does that clarify it?
Dr. Schroeder, again, I think what I'm hearing is that people objecting to the fact that if we vote yes on this, it is going to be interpreted that, yes, the marijuana is going to be fine as long as it's limited to one location. But what I'm hearing people say is that they don't want the marijuana, the recreational use, period, and they're not given the chance to say that. I think that the selectmen have heard what people think.
Yes. I think the people feel that they're between a rock and a hard place, because no matter which way they vote, it's not going to vote to ban marijuana.
Tom Barron, 6S1 Circle. I just have two questions. One clarification, that if I'm a marijuana owner and I come in as a medical marijuana facility, within, as the current law is written right now, within 5 years, do I have the option to go recreational? And my second question is for the selectmen. They said it was going to create 60 jobs. The Lakeville residents have first choice of those jobs. That was my question.
Two parts.
So I'll address one of them with regard to the preference for the jobs. I think that's probably best dealt with by the owner-operator of the medical facility. So with regard to there's no ability to convert a medical operation into a retail adult use operation without going through somewhat of a multi-stage process, which includes the host community agreement, a community outreach agreement, and having a license application from the state. So there's no 5-year, immediate turnaround to become an adult use retailer. That doesn't exist on the books. What would have to happen is that the medical facility would need to apply to the state after they've received permission from the Board of Selectmen through a host community agreement. As Selectman Burke has said, and I echo that sentiment, I will not, I will honor the wishes, and we'll kind of delay the vote to the fall town meeting if there is a desire to have a ban on this. I think, when we had our community outreach meeting essentially to gather information from the residents, and we've talked about this for a number of months with regard to what we're looking to do for adult use, the sentiment was not, there was some conversation about, a resident's petition bringing forth a ban. That was something that was talked about, but it wasn't really echoed by a lot of the people that were attending that particular meeting. So I think, from that perspective, this is probably the first time maybe that we've had a lot of feedback, and I'm glad to have this conversation because we have meetings, we don't have a lot of feedback. We bring to you, something that's related to the economic benefits for the town as we go through the budget process, because we know we had $1 million that we had to carve out from a financial perspective. So this, was brought forth from a monetary perspective on my end, without hearing a lot of what a lot of you are saying tonight, which we haven't heard prior to this particular night.
So right now, as the current law is stated or written, Mr. Brady can only apply for a medical marijuana facility, and he can't go recreational. That's what you're telling me?
Correct. We have
Okay.
already approved his medical host community agreement, so
Okay.
he's already established and will be coming here, provided he moves forward with it.
Thank you very much.
I would like to, my name's Dick Nichols. I'd like to defer to Mr. Brady. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Do you mind if we have Mr. Brady before you? Does that sit close? All right, go. Mr. Scott.
I've not come to a lot of town meetings, but I have heard the word, if a motion to table this article were made, what would that do besides require a vote? Would that come to a vote, and then at that point, we would not vote on that article? Is that how that system works?
You can table several different ways. I call them different flavors. One is to table indefinitely, which means you kill it. You can table to a certain time, such as the next town meeting, whether I guess a special. Well, defer. I thought you could defer to a special time. Oh, okay, fine. All right, so you can do it indefinitely or simply table it.
Would the selectmen, and this is through you, Mr. Moderator, would the selectmen entertain the possibility of actually having it on the Lakeville ballot at the next election prior to the fall town meeting?
I thought they did that once.
Through the moderator, Dick, what's the purpose of, what are you shooting for here?
What you indicated what your action would be if this failed, that you would bring something to town meeting, a way to find out whether it's 90 people split for the marijuana or whether the vote is changed, or I guess what I'm leading up to is there was a vote in the past. You've indicated if this fails what you would do. I'm exploring other options for there to be further discussion.
Okay, before you leave, if you table it, it's dead, the way we work it, okay?
Yes. Can we have a, sorry, Michael Giardini, so can we put forward a motion to table it then indefinitely?
Yes, you could.
Okay, I'd like to do that. I'm not sure.
Say, I move
I move
to postpone Article 9 indefinitely.
to postpone Article 9 indefinitely.
I need it in writing, and I need it now. Second?
I'll second.
It's been made and seconded. Please time out.
Can I say one thing?
Certainly, just give me a minute. I want to get this in writing.
Mr. Moderator, I question whether the movement understands that if the motion to table is approved, he has failed to limit the area in town in which marijuana could be sold.
It's not discussable. Right. If you're speaking about this motion to postpone indefinitely, it's not debatable. But if you were going to make a comment about something as a point of order,
Well, I just want to, Mark Aroni, attendant Eldos Pond Drive, just had a question. If this goes through, well, I guess, if we table this, then it can go potentially anywhere, right?
Yeah. Which is really where they are now.
But the selectmen said they would not
Yeah.
do a host agreement if we vote, if we table it, so.
The selectmen have indicated that they would hold off till the next town meeting. At least two of them have.
So let's just into it.
Oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
The same thing, what signal would the selectmen like on this vote to, I mean, for instance.
The vote to table indefinitely kills it, and that might be your signal, but I
I
can't.
understand that, I would rather hear that from them. I want to vote in a way, whichever way they want me to vote, to signify that I am on the side that is against having recreational marijuana.
Okay, you have to sit down, sir.
What do I say?
I'm sorry, you have to sit down. We operate by town meeting rules. Town meeting rules mean that when someone makes a motion to postpone indefinitely, and it is seconded, we move directly to a majority vote. It is not discussable, it is only clarification. We've had it clarified, and we can go no further. And the town council has told me so, okay? So we have to come to a vote. Majority. All in favor of postponing indefinitely, signify by raising your cards. Please, will people please count? This is going to be a countable vote. Thank you. You may put your cards down. Would you please raise your cards if you vote no?
$20. 18.
24. 21.
Thank you. The motion is defeated, 29 in favor, 83 against. We are now back to simply debating Article 9.
Right, sir. Okay.
Wow.
You almost didn't have it.
My name's John Brady. I represent Teachers Remedy. And may be odd for me to say, but I do understand those of you who are concerned about bringing recreational marijuana to town. And it is an emotional issue, it's a moral issue. And I'm not here to preach because I probably won't change your mind anyway. So I respect the process of a town. And this is what America and New England was built on, are these town meetings, and I've attended many of them. So, Mr. Moderator, first off, thank you very much for allowing me to speak as a guest here, recognizing I don't live here, but we are moving to town with our medical facility, which has been approved. And also, we will have a medical marijuana distribution center. So we will be selling in town, most likely, and we will be growing marijuana in town. So with that having been said, I would like to just go through some statistics for the town, and I realize money is not always the issue, but just to not to counter, but to enlighten on some of the issues that have been said. The National Institute of Highway Safety has just published a study, and there was a lot of talk about accidents as a result of marijuana. And that study, which I can provide to the select board for distribution in town if you'd like to see it, showed that there was not any statistically significant changes in traffic fatalities in states that had marijuana. So there were no changes, and that is a national study done by the government. So Somebody brought up opioids and marijuana. I can't speak to opioids, which could very well have caused a significant increase, but I can speak to marijuana and no statistically difference in fatalities, in highway accidents. For the town, what we represent, and I've been to quite a few of the select board meetings, and at the last one of the thoughts that I had that really struck home was that they said that they started your town budget at $1 million deficit and struggled to find ways to cut to get that budget in balance. We represent between Alex, who is Alex Mason, who is with Tricom, who will be, we'd like to call it a cooperator, competitor across the street, but also we have very same fundamental ideas of how to run operations, and we've become quite friendly, is we estimate that there'll be about $10 million a year in sales at our facilities if we are allowed to sell at Kenneth Welsh Drive. That would represent about $600,000 a year that would come into the town budget from revenue from us. If you were to put that in perspective, we would be the highest taxpayers in town through the revenue from that. And that tax would come from, if it were just my facility, or if you combine Alex and my Tricom and my facility, that would be about 4,500 square feet. So a 4,500 square foot facility would be generating roughly somewhere between $480,000 and $600,000 a year just from the sales. From that, generally when you receive a tax revenue, it's from building new houses, housing developments, things like that. When you bring in a housing development, you also bring in children, which is wonderful, but they also spend a lot more on schools, building more schools and things like that. Ours is money that is not going to go out the door. Yes, will there be some mitigation expense? Somebody talked about, will we need added police? I can't speak to that. In most towns, we haven't seen the need for increased police. These are really not events, these dispensaries, but we would be contributing somewhere between $480,000 and $600,000 net to the town. People are not going to not buy marijuana. If they want it, it'd just be like alcohol. If you were dry in Lakeville, people would drive to Taunton, where Taunton is going to be recreationally available. Fall River is going to be recreationally available. I realize in your immediate area, it is not recreationally available to Freetown and some of the surrounding towns. But if you're to drive 15 miles, maybe 20 minutes away, you're going to have it. It's not going to stop coming into your town simply because you vote to not have the proper zoning in town. It will be here, and whether I believe in it or not, or morally or ethically all of you do, I'm not here to say that's right or wrong, because whatever you believe is right. However, it will be coming into town. The one thing that won't be coming into town is your tax revenue. That will be going to Taunton, that will be going to Fall River. That $480,000 to $600,000 we've talked about will be going to the schools, to the police, and everything that's associated with those other towns. By bringing the marijuana into your town, you will still have, if there is a concern about traffic accidents, there will still be those traffic accidents. The police will still be involved, and any other things that you're concerned about, whether it's paramedics or ambulances or whatever else would be associated with cannabis, those costs will still reside in your town. I mean, it's not to think that it's not going to be here simply because you're not allowing it to be sold in town. So you will be having the added burden, and I'm not trying to do a scare tactic. I'm a mathematician by trade, and my whole life is built on logic. And stopping marijuana from being sold in town is not going to stop any associated problems that are going to happen, whether perceived or real. What is going to happen is the revenue to solve those problems will not be here. And if there is, in fact, that added cost, your $1 million deficit that was solved by cutting salaries and not promoting people will become a significantly larger deficit. Voting to ban it Basically, moratoriums are one thing, banning it is another. That's taking that revenue permanently out, and to reinstate it, it would take a 2/3 majority. So the money is real. We contractually have obligated ourselves on the medical side to contribute $15 a pound for every pound we grow. Medically, we will contribute 3% of all of our medical sales. They'll be small here in Lakeville, I would imagine. And so this isn't fake money that we're just talking about. We're willing to contractually obligate ourselves to that. We're willing to contractually obligate ourselves to minimums, that the minimum amount of money. And we've already signed or agreed to a host agreement that we will contribute a minimum of $10,000 a year to charities in town, and we anticipate that'll be larger. Traffic. If it's indeed 50,000 cars, well, first off, it's not cars, it's 50,000 people that would be coming to our facility. Some of them would be coming in more than one in a car, some would be coming in one in a car. But let's say it's the worst case, it's 50,000 cars a year. That breaks down to about 17 cars an hour on an 8-hour day. I was at the mobile station getting gas here when I came into town, and I can certainly tell you there's a lot more than 17 cars an hour that are going through that mobile station. We're a fraction of what would happen there. A lot of our cars would be coming in on a Saturday when people are not working. So I don't, with all due respect, in that area, in that industrial zone where we're choosing to be located, or not choosing, but are being allocated, that's an industrial zone. And if you did your traffic, if you look at your past traffic study, the traffic study to support that was incredibly larger than anything that we're going to add as a burden to the town. So we're going to be growing medical marijuana there. We've been approved to do that. We hopefully will, if we can get a population base, for patient base, I should say, we're going to be selling medical marijuana in that facility. So I appreciate your time. We would like to be good neighbors here. We're not, I hate to use the word, we're not stoners. I ran a public company. I was the CEO of a biotech company listed on the London Stock Exchange. All of our people are very professional. We look at this as a business. We're going to run it professionally. Our dispensary operations will average about 20 to 25 people, which would be 40 to 50 people. We're paying about $20 an hour in answer to somebody's question. We give preference in our host agreements to hiring local Lakeville residents and also purchasing from Lakeville businesses. So just on the recreational dispensing alone, it would be roughly 40 people at $40,000 a person, which is $20 an hour. That would be $1.6 million in addition to the tax money that we pay that will be coming into town through people that will be employing. So we're paying high-paying jobs. One of the things we believe in is a livable wage, and that's what we plan to pay. So if you add that all up, we plan to be good citizens, and we would appreciate a vote in our favor, but I certainly understand also the emotional aspects that surround it. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. And thank you for welcoming us in here as a medical company. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll proceed with further discussion. The only thing I ask is you don't repeat what you said before. If you have something new to offer, that would be a good thing. If you're going to say the same thing again, that would not be a good thing.
Mark Knox. I just want to state, I do understand that Article 9 is not a question of banning or not. Again, I state that I just wish that was a question we had tonight. However, we do realize, I think as townspeople, that marijuana is legal in Massachusetts. And it's just a question of whether we welcome it to town or not for retail. I think one of the things that concerns me is if we don't limit the sales, it brings a lot of people from neighboring towns into town. Whereas if somebody went to Taunton to get it, they're just coming home with it. So I guess my question is, there's a lot on the table. This is, I think, a hot button issue. Through you, Mr. Moderator, is there a way that we could make a motion to continue this discussion to another later town meeting to maybe change this.
The wording.
Well, yeah, the zoning entirely to, you know, I'm not entirely against the retail portion, I just don't like it in the middle of town. I know that Middleborough's talked about opening something in Cairns, and that's on the border of Taunton, and that seems like a great spot, not the center of town, I wouldn't be bringing people through town. And I just think we could do a better job. And I look to town council or the selectmen to offer input if we could make a motion to do that, respectfully.
Okay. I'm going to turn the microphone over to the to you. Town council.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Moderator. So, you know, town meeting can't defer action from one town meeting to another. A town meeting exists unto itself, okay? But, you know, what I would say is that a vote on this article does not prevent you from putting an article on a future town meeting to prohibit the sale of retail marijuana or to regulate it in some different way. So what we understand is that if you do nothing, then retail establishments are likely allowed in the business or industrial zone. If you vote yes on this article, you're limiting it to the industrial zone only by special permit. If you vote yes on this, you're voting in this limitation, but in the fall, if the selectmen hear enough interest, they can bring forward an article to prohibit it altogether. And your vote on this would not prohibit that from happening in the future. Again, because they're independent town meetings. So, you know, if a prohibition is what you're in favor of, don't let that be a reason to not take action on this article one way or the other, because you can still bring that forward at a later time.
Thank you.
It's a.
I'm going to call for the question, so I think Mr. Ramsden.
Well, why don't we?
I think he was in line before me, so I
Okay.
don't want to cut him because that's what I'm
That
going to
is
do.
very good. Okay, stay there.
All right, I've got a quick question, and it's just really for a point of clarification. I believe the gentleman who ran, is it not Nature's?
Yeah, well, yes.
The gentleman who just spoke from the company. Yeah. Clearly implied that they would like to be able to sell recreationally in addition to medically from the argument that he was taking and the points that he was making. So for those in the community who, for future reference, would like to be able to have some control over whether or not that happens. A few minutes ago, a question was asked about the ability to convert from a medical establishment to a retail establishment, and it was said, well, it really can't happen. It would have to go through.
You have to go through the
number of
process.
approvals. But I just have this one question. There's a law in place that says that if the organization was licensed or registered prior to July 1st, 2017, which in fact his organization was, zoning bylaws or ordinances are not permitted to operate to prevent the conversion of a medical marijuana treatment center to a recreational facility. So if that is the case, which it certainly sounds like it is, what recourse do we have?
Well, it doesn't prevent him. It doesn't automatically let him. Okay? Would you answer that question?
I think I'd like to see some clarification on that because I believe it's pointing towards the conversion from a non-profit to a for-profit for an existing medical facility. I'm not entirely sure that I don't know that that's not the context that statement is held within.
No, it's not non-profit or for-profit. Not permitted to operate to prevent the conversion of a medical marijuana treatment center, also known as a registered marijuana dispensary or RMD, licensed or registered not later than July 1st, 2017. that is engaged in the cultivation, manufacture, or sale of marijuana or marijuana products to a marijuana establishment for adult use engaged in the same type of activity. Zoning bylaws or ordinances are also not allowed to limit the number of marijuana establishments below certain limits unless specific procedures are followed. So, if you're not prepared to be able to answer the question,
No,
that's fine. I just want to make sure it's
I think
understood.
that got answered before, but let me clarify. You're asking if a medical facility could also sell adult recreational marijuana. And I think Mitzi said, yes, you can, but you've got to go through the process.
Right, I mean,
And what I'm saying is that there's laws in place that say that you cannot use those processes to prohibit it from happening.
right, but you're
Yeah.
looking at that from the zoning perspective, not the actual license application process and allowing for that to happen. Currently, the zoning for the medical facilities is in the industrial area. And again, by the way that the law was written at the state level, if there is no specific zone, then it goes and it's allowed by right. Typically, it looks to the use that it mirrors, which in this case would be likely to be medical marijuana, which would likely then to be held within the industrial zone. Again, if the motion is, or the motion is defeated essentially, so that it can go by right.
So I think you're answering my question, just so I can restate. You can't use the zoning aspects of the law to deny them to be able to convert. You could still require them to go through it and set up a host agreement with you, and in which case you could deny it that way. But you couldn't say, no, we're not letting you because you're in the wrong zone.
Well, they can't apply, a complete application to the state requires a host community agreement. So they can't even get to that point. If they somehow get a host community agreement when you have zoning that either doesn't exist or is not clear, and it goes up to the state level with an existing host community agreement, the state sends it back to the town to ensure that there's no issue with zoning. If everybody is, if you want to call it asleep at the wheel, it doesn't deny that it's not in compliance with zoning, therefore it passes as well. But the key is really hinging on the host community agreement, which is done by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, thank you. I'll be done.
Okay,
Richard and then you.
I was before him.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Leah Fabian, calling for the question.
Second, no.
A motion has been made and seconded to call the question. That is non-debatable. Okay? Calling the question brings us directly to a vote without any further discussion. So, all in favor of calling the question, please raise your cards. Counters, please count.
Twelve. 13.
17?
21.
Thank you. You may put your cards down. All opposed to calling the question, please raise your cards.
$11.
9?
14.
10.
15.
So mine's changed from 14 to 15. I didn't get Mr. LaCAM on the first.
45. Thank you. The motion to cut off the date has failed. It must pass by 2/3, and the number was 63 to 45. It would have needed 72 in order to be able to pass. Mr. LaCAM.
Mr. Moderator, just one point that I'd like to make is that the state has said over the weekend that there's only 12 licenses in the whole state that are going to be issued for recreational marijuana as of July 1st, which tells you something about the concern with recreational marijuana. My question is to the Board of Selectmen is that if we vote no on this article, will they keep their word and not negotiate a host agreement?
Thank you. That's tossed over to the selectmen.
You're implying I would lie at town meeting?
No, he wants a clarification.
That's a clarification.
I don't understand the question. Clarify that I said very clearly that I would not negotiate a host agreement?
What about the other two selectmen?
Mitzi said the same thing.
Okay, John?
I would not. I'll bring any business to the town people and let them decide at town vote whether they wish to allow a company in or not have a company in. So I'll leave it to the town vote. If the two selectmen want to bring it, perhaps they would. I would not. I would bring any business to the town. Whether I like the business or not, it's a business that generates tax revenue. I voted against it in the state election, but I'm happy to take the money. But I'll let the taxpayers decide, but I would not share the same view as the other two selectmen. But they certainly can outvote me.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
Hi, Dick Nichols again. I just wanted to do a little math, and in one of the previous meetings, Mitzi had said that there may be up to $1 million in tax revenue from this. And I did a little extrapolation, and it would be probably less than $150 per household. I don't think that's enough. Not in my book, anyway. I'm willing to pay that.
Okay.
Another thing, the parking that they are talking about in the industrial park, yes, there is a lot of parking. All of it is over at Talbot's. When you look at 310 Kenneth Welch Drive, right now, there are probably at least 10 cars that are parking on the grass every day. I think we've been misled on a lot of this. One of the other things I would like to remind the selectmen that if they lost by the 80 or 90 votes, they would not be sitting on this stage tonight. And for the last 50 years, we have been hearing, say no to drugs. And now our selectmen want to put the drugs in. That just seems wrong, wrong, wrong. So I think we have to say no to drugs one more time. We have to say no for our children, for the town of Lakeville, and our grandchildren. And why was this question of banning it brought forth before any of these zoning changes?
One of the selectmen answered the last question. Why wasn't banning presented first?
Sir, as I explained earlier this evening, I think the intention was to provide this option to the townspeople and see what they thought about it.
Wouldn't we be better off to decide whether we wanted it, and then if we did, decide where? Don't we have a cart before the horse here?
Perhaps in hindsight, we could call it that way, but this is certainly a case of first impression for the Board of Selectmen. This is, as many people have pointed out, new, and we're just trying to do the best we can.
Thank you.
Not that I'm sore or anything, Leah Fabian, because my motion to call the question didn't pass, but I just want, through you, Mr. Moderator, the selectmen to know that I'm not making you promise to cross your heart and hope to die, stick a needle in your eye, that you're not gonna change your opinion down the road. I think it's silly to hold 3 people accountable today for a decision that might be made in 6 months. Anything could happen to, to them so that they could, vacate their position. They could win the lottery and go do whatever. So if anyone is sitting here today saying, I'm basing my vote on the fact that they said this, I think that's just not really a mature way to make a decision. We've gone over this so many times. I don't know why people aren't ready. You either want it in an industrial place, or you're okay with it going in next to Baldi's, or which is business zoned, or anywhere else. This question is very simple. This question is industrial or industrial and business. It has nothing to do with allowing it to come here. That's it. We answer this question, and if anyone wants to do something beyond this point, feel free to do so. I went to a couple of those meetings too. I didn't see people waiting in line to get in to express their opinion. So if the selectmen are saying right now that, they thought people weren't opposed, I can vouch for that. I didn't think there was very much opposition either at any of those meetings. So I think we just really need to vote.
Seeing that there is no one at the microphone, we will move to a vote on Article 9. Article 9 needs a 2/3 approval. If you approve this, it's exactly the way the young lady said. Okay? All in favor of Article 9, and counters please count, please raise your cards.
$17.
16.
17.
25.
Thank you. You may put your cards down. All opposed to Article 9, please raise your cards.
Five.
6.
10.
Thank you. You may put your cards down. The vote was 75 to, what was the other number? 27. It needed 68 to pass, and it got 75 votes. So Article 9 passes. Article 10. What is printed?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend the zoning bylaw to allow adult-use marijuana establishments, with the exception of marijuana retailers, in the industrial zone district by amending the zoning bylaw, Section 2, definitions, and Section 413, table of use regulations as set forth in Article 10 of the warrant, as drafted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee report?
Sorry. Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Planning Board report?
Planning Board voted unanimously to approve this, or recommend this.
Thank you. Would you care to speak to it?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, this is the ancillary businesses to the marijuana industry. So the first vote was for retail sales. This would be any other industry, or I should say business that relates to that. So this is marijuana cultivation, a craft marijuana cooperative, marijuana product manufacturer, independent testing laboratory, research facility, transport, or any other type of licensed marijuana-related businesses.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none? Oh, okay. Yeah, you wanted the second shot, so.
On the second one, the part I don't understand is the allow adult use marijuana establishments with the exception of marijuana retailers. But I thought we wanted marijuana retailers in the, that, yes. But with the, well, why did you accept them?
Would you care to speak to that, Selectman? Or why don't we have the town council do it?
I know what it's supposed to say, but what it seems to say that it's that marijuana retailers aren't allowed. Is what it seems to say.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Moderator. So, these two articles create two different definitions. One is for adult use marijuana retailer, which is defined as an entity licensed to purchase and transport cannabis or marijuana product from an adult use marijuana establishment and to sell or otherwise transfer this product to adult use marijuana establishments and consumers. So that's the definition of retail. This Article 10 defines adult use marijuana establishment. And basically what it's saying
It's supposed to stand, I understand that, but it's supposed to stand on its own. Article 10 will not stand on its own.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moderator, can I finish the answer, please?
Yes.
So this is just creating a second definition, which is every other class of marijuana establishment except for retail. Okay, it's not, this clause is not saying what is or is not allowed, it's just saying this is what the definition is. So you're gonna have two different definitions, one for retail, one for everything else. If you vote the second part of this, you're gonna say the everything else is also allowed in the industrial district by special permit, as you did before, where you said retail is allowed by special permit. So you're not saying that, if you vote yes on this, you're not saying that retail is prohibited. You're just saying it's not included within this particular definition. But the previous article still stands on its own.
Yes.
Carol Foster. I don't see the word medical in here at all, so this has nothing to do with medical marijuana, which is what the gentleman was telling us about earlier when he was talking about his establishment. Is that correct?
Sir, would you clarify?
This one, we're already approved for medical.
Right.
So that's done.
Right.
This one is for simply adult use cultivation and other adult use opportunities. So we're already approved for medical.
So if you're growing it, you could sell it to someone
No,
that's
that's
not
retail.
medical. Oh, okay. But you could grow it for non-medical use, is what I understand. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Mr. Moderator, through you. What we're asking for here is, we have a 50,000 square foot facility that we're going to be building out. We're pretty far along. What this allows us to do is, the plants are the plants. The medical plants are the same as the adult use plants. This just allows us to sell these adult use plants. Even if the previous article was not approved, we can now sell them as adult use to distributors or dispensaries throughout the state. So basically, this just gives us a permit to sell them to adult use dispensaries, not necessarily Lakeville, but anywhere else in the state. So we won't have increased plant counts or anything. Nothing will change for us.
Another question I have is, I don't understand, I understand basically that with medical use, you need to have a prescription or a card or something like that when you purchase it from whomever. Adult use would be more like an alcoholic beverage sort of establishment. So I often wonder, going down the road, why would someone go through trying to get a medical card when you could just go and buy it?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Mr. Moderator, you don't pay tax when you have a medical card. When you walk into an adult use establishment, you don't need it's called a script. It's not necessarily a prescription, but it's the same concept. And you will pay no tax because you're a medical patient. If you were to just walk in off the street and are above 21 years of age and are allowed to buy, you will be paying basically 20% tax, plus there will be the 3% post-agreement possibility tax. So it's about a 23% tax that you wouldn't pay as a medical patient. That's the difference. And that's why you would continue to use your medical card.
Thank you.
This is essentially wholesale.
Yes. Yeah, what we're asking for on this, again, John Brady's Nature's Remedy, is permission to take the plants that we're growing now. We're not going to increase plant counts. There'll be absolutely no difference in our facility from one day to the next. It just allows us to sell these as adult use plants to or products to other dispensaries throughout the state of Massachusetts. You will see absolutely no change in traffic, employees, everything in there. But just to give you, again, being the numbers guy, can't get away, I was always the nerd growing up. The numbers are that we anticipate that we will have about 40 employees at that facility. I probably speak for Mr. Mason back there at Tricombe. He'll have about the same, as will the third facility that's applying, the medical facility. So collectively, we'll have about 120 employees. We plan to pay, again, a living wage is one of our mantras in our business, and so that would be about $20 an hour on average, which would be $40,000. And with 120 employees, we'll be having a payroll collectively of all of us of about $4.8 million to $5 million a year that will be coming in. We will be offering priority employment to Lakeville residents. We have committed to buy locally where we can, so we will be supporting the Lakeville community and businesses with our purchases. So there'll be a lot of, again, money that will be flowing into the community in the form of income that will be for the personnel that we hire. Secondly, we are going to be we'll be negotiating a new host agreement with the select board, and we will be paying, right now we're paying $15 a pound for medical pounds that we grow, and we'll be doing the same, or we'll be working out an agreement to pay a per pound fee. And we, again, will be supporting local charities, and we have agreed contractually to do this with through the host agreement, and we will be working with a committee that the select board sets up to where to put those charitable dollars. So when somebody asked before, can they be directed to the police department or education or, DARE program, Stop Drugs in the schools, this is where those charitable dollars can be directed. By state law, you can't say where your impact fees go. That has to go into the general fund. So unfortunately, you can't just direct this money into schools. It has to be mitigation money. But on a charitable basis, we're very happy to support the charities, or not charities in town, but to support the schools, the police department, the fire department. Again, we will be the largest taxpayers in town. Just Nature's Remedy alone will be the highest taxpayer in town at our tiny little facility along with our grow. So again, I appreciate it if you could vote in favor of this, because really nothing changes. It's just a plant now has a tag on it that says adult use versus medical use. You'd never even know there was a difference after this. Thank you very much.
Hey, Piasecki, I want to applaud Mr. Brady for the great service he's done for our town. I guess what we've done is we've limited the growth and sale of the cannabis to the industrial park. That's a good thing. And the adult use means recreational in the event anyone didn't understand what that meant. So it's going to be used both medically and sold both medically and recreationally. And although he says it's the same plants, there won't be any more plants grown. I think if you're using it for recreational, quote, adult use, and for medical use, there'll be significantly greater demand. And I, for one, am opposed, I'm disappointed. Thank you much.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moderator, Bill McGurk from Cinder Hill Path. You stole a bit of my
thunder.
Thank you. There. First thought I had was medical marijuana and recreational use marijuana, which is what we're talking about when we say adult use. We're talking about people who want to get high for fun will be able to procure their marijuana locally, or people from surrounding towns that don't.
Let me stop you for a minute. Article 10 is the wholesale sale of marijuana to dispensaries, period.
I understand. Article 9 is passed.
Article 9 is passed, and we've been there and kind of done that. So I would like you to channel your question to the article involved.
Okay.
I can't debate an article that's already gone. I mean, what's the point?
Mr. Moderator, point of order.
Yes.
This actually includes testing laboratories, research facilities.
I'm sorry.
It's all the ancillary businesses. It's not just wholesale cultivation.
Right. But it is not sale over the counter.
Correct.
That was before.
Yes.
Okay, so the point that got me out of my chair, there's a difference between medical, I've read enough to know that there's a difference between medical marijuana and what's commonly sold around the country as recreational use. The compounds that have been identified as medicinally beneficial, or likely so, we need more research on that, in fact, are different from the ones that have the psychoactive properties. So I found it a bit disingenuous to say, oh, you know, pot is pot and it's the same plant, when if he's serious about the medical aspect of marijuana, you're looking at different strains for different purposes.
Okay.
I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay. Sorry to have to restrict you, but that's the way it is.
Mr. Moderator?
You have something new?
I would like to kind of understand why the articles were signed off on May 9th. The planning board was having a vote on this on May 10th. Could you tell me kind of how this all happened without the input from the planning board?
Isn't the planning board May 10th?
Yes, these articles were signed off on May 9th, the day before.
Usually a warrant article is a list of things you want to do. Things by the planning board require a hearing, and it very often happen after the warrant is arranged. And either way, it's either going to be approved or disapproved, but it's still on the warrant.
Okay. And this is kind of another question, and I noticed that Mr. Brady is running a nonprofit organization, nonprofit corporation. Could somebody kind of fill us in on why it's a nonprofit?
Mr. Moderator?
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just from my curiosity.
May I answer that question?
Make it very quick.
I will. We are not a nonprofit organization. We converted from nonprofit to profitable about 4 months ago.
Does that answer your question, sir?
That answers my question, but it's not what I saw on the
the Secretary of State corporate database.
Okay, the database hasn't caught up with you?
Probably not, but we've been approved.
Okay.
May I say one more thing?
If it's not repeating
It's not
from
repeating.
the last article.
It is, no, I would never do that. The one thing that I do have, the only thing that gets me out of the chair is when people say we're disingenuous. We will be producing, what he's referring to is a product called high CBD content marijuana, which is the non-psychoactive product that is in cannabis. And we will be making a high CBD product for both recreational and medical, because that is a very in-demand product for people's health that they buy, even if they don't get a doctor's script for it. So we will be making the exact same products for both.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, Mr.
Just to speak a little bit, one of the companies always was just going to be a grow facility, unlike Nature's Remedy, which would be a grow facility, a medical facility, and a retail facility. So our sister town, as an example, in Freetown, allows the grow facility. They're putting up a 125,000 square foot building, and that product gets grown in the town, and our host agreement would have income coming in based on the poundage produced. Those manufacturers, not necessarily Nature's Remedy, would ship that product to other facilities, either wholesale people or other retail facilities in other towns where they would have the licenses to sell on a retail basis. From a traffic point of view, this is the less intrusive of all of them, where you would be growing the product and shipping it to other towns that would be consuming it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing that there is no one else at the microphone, and I'll give you 5 seconds. Then we will move to Article 10 for a vote. It is a 2/3 vote. All in favor of Article 10, please raise your cards. Counters, please count.
$11.
17.
21. 19.
Thank you. You may put your cards down. All opposed, please raise your cards.
Zero.
0,
4.
4,
4.
4,
7.
7. I have 68 to 15. Yeah, that one. The vote is 68 approved, 15 did not. You need 55 to make a 2/3, and you had 68, so it passes. Article 11.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to amend Section 746, specific uses by special permit, by inserting a new section titled Adult Use Marijuana Establishments and Retailers, immediately following the section regulating adult bookstore, adult motion picture theater, as set forth in Article 11 of the warrant as drafted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Planning Board,
Planning board recommends.
pardon?
Recommends approval.
Well, thank you. Speak to it.
Mr. Moderator, this is the bylaw apparatus to allow the planning board to have special permit granting authority over the marijuana businesses.
Thank you. Questions?
clear, if this is voted no, what are the ramifications? Martin Trails, no, no drive.
Aaron? No rules.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Moderator. So you've already voted to allow adult use marijuana retailers and wholesalers by special permit. What this does is provide guidance to the planning board as to the terms upon which such special permits could be granted. If you vote no on this, there is no such guidance, and it would defer to whatever special permit, generic special permit provisions there are in the zoning bylaw.
Seeing no one else at the microphone? Oh, okay, I'll wait. Take your time.
Carol Foster again. It's a special, I understand, but it says industrial district. So does that mean only again in the industrial district? And the planning board makes that decision based on all of these numbers of, is that correct?
Correct. So the criteria set forth in that page, on those pages there, are the specific bylaw for the planning board to consider an application for such a business. It can only be located in the industrial area,
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further comment, we will go to Article 11, a vote. This again is a 2/3 vote. Counters are going to have to count. All in favor of Article 11, please raise your cards. Thank you.
20.
Thank you.
18.
Okay.
23.
Thank you. All opposed, please raise your cards.
Zero.
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 1.
1.
Thank you. The vote is what, 82 to 1? 82 to 1, it passes by more than a 2/3 vote. Article 12, to the go, people.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of MGL Chapter 64N, Section 3, to impose excise local sales tax on the sale or transfer of marijuana or marijuana products by a marijuana retailer operating within the town to anyone other than a marijuana establishment at the rate of 3% of the total sales price received by their marijuana retailer as consideration for the sale of marijuana or marijuana products.
Second.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. Care to comment?
Yes, so this is the last of the marijuana articles. This is the one that the town needs to accept, or I should say to pass, to accept the 3% sales tax on the adult recreational sales.
Thank you. Questions?
Mr. Moderator, how was the 3% figure arrived at?
Where'd you come up with 3%?
I'm too tired to come up with some sort of comment, but yes, we flipped a coin. And heads was 3% and tails was 5%. Now, this is set by the state legislature. So the state legislature sets the tax rate on marijuana products. They carved out 3% for municipalities if they're going to have a retail establishment. If we accept this, we will get the 3%. If we don't get the 3%.
Thank you. I see no further questions. We'll move to Article 12. This only is a simple majority. All in favor of Article 12, raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed to Article 12, raise your cards. It passes by majority vote. Article 13.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to accept provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 19K, which thereby provide additional compensation up to a maximum of $1,000 to a town clerk who completes the necessary training and compensation for fiscal year, the necessary training and receive certification as a Massachusetts municipal clerk, and to provide said additional compensation for fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $1,000, which sum is included in the town clerk's salary line item in the town's budget as voted pursuant to Article 1 at the June 4, 2018 annual town meeting.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee recommends approval.
would you care to speak to it?
Sure. In general, the town clerk's position has suffered over the past years. It's not because no professional standards have been developed for qualification. Since the most part of it's an elected office, anybody can be elected with lack of experience or general knowledge of the position. So since 1988, the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association has developed an educational and certification program to establish minimum standards of the knowledge of the statutory requirements and to enhance the professionalism of the position. Unfortunately, most people still think that the town clerk as the person is that registers births, deaths, marriages, sells fishing licenses, hunting licenses, dog licenses, sits on the stage and looks important at town meetings, and can be occasionally be found running around the polling place when it comes for elections. We have more responsibilities than that. The office of the town clerk is a complex position, governed generally speaking by 73 chapters, 451 sections of the Mass General Laws, town bylaws, and a good supply of common sense. As of September 6, 2017, I've earned my certification as your certified Massachusetts municipal clerk, which is a certification granted by a certified board of the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association. This designation is achieved by attending Massachusetts Town Clerks Association sponsored education courses, passing a 250-question aptitude test, measuring the municipal clerk's knowledge of the Massachusetts laws in categories such as elections, vital records, campaign finance, town meetings, Chapter 48 Planning Board, Chapter 41 Zoning Board, ethics, public records, and additional requirements based on other educational programs and years of service. Statewide, I am proud to say that I represent Lakeville as your certified Massachusetts municipal clerk. Currently, 123 active clerks and cities clerks of the Commonwealth hold this designation, as well as nationwide as your certified municipal clerk. Currently, 130 active Massachusetts clerks and city clerks hold this designation as well. This certified municipal clerk certification must be renewed every 4 years by completing 4 additional NTCA courses. I'm almost done.
I hope so.
The last certified clerk.
Because people are bailing out.
I know. The last Massachusetts municipal clerk was Marjorie Henderson in 1977, which I'm proud to say that I obtained full certification, and 70 communities have accepted this chapter. Thank you so much.
Seeing no one else on the mic, we'll move on Article 13. All in favor, raise your cards. Thank you. You may put them down. All opposed, raise your cards. I see no cards. That's unanimously passed. I will accept a motion to dissolve. Motion to dissolve. Seconded. Motion made. Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Drive carefully.